combat sports rivalry, which took us back to the inaugural BMF championship bout, 2019. Third round referee stoppage, which didn't necessarily leave a ton of closure, although a much respected victory for Jorge Masvidal. 5 years later, we're here to do it again, this time in the boxing ring, as these two combat sports icons square off. Wouldn't think you'd need to list their accolades. Pretty much well known, but when you're talking about Jorge Masvidal, you're talking about the 2019 Consensus MMA Fighter of the Year, a guy who bleeds the 305 of Miami, who reached superstardom that same calendar year by delivering the quickest knockout in UFC history against Ben Askren, a 3-time Fight of the Night honoree, 4-time Performance of the Night winner. It's sort of what he does. He also wins a professional boxing victory on his record and is excited to get back in there the second time. Jorge Gamebred Masvidal. Jorge, there's been a lot of talking in the build-up to this fight. I've done a lot of it, whether people have enjoyed that or not. It's close to be time to fight, though. But what have you learned about your opponent during the ups and downs of this press tour? The craziness that has happened, the trash talk back and forth.
I'm never worried about my opponents. I just worried about me, training, be crazy guy, ready to go eat, and then all the fighters on stage want to go eat. So I'm like, what the fuck's going on, man? Let's get this moving, man.
His opponent, Stockton, California's finest. Man who took part in some of the biggest rivalries in combat sports history, record-breaking pay-per-view numbers in his 2-fight series with Conor McGregor. He made his first foray into professional boxing, going 10 hard rounds with Jake Paul. He's been around boxing gyms and boxing legends, getting great work for so many years. Nate Diaz. Nate, so great to have you back. Like we said, final time, we've got to get up here and share some of these words to help sell this fight on Saturday. But boy, have you guys given us a lot to sell, a lot of heat back and forth between the two of you and your respective teams. What does that mean, if anything, in terms of Saturday's fight, the heated nature of the bad blood between the two camps?
There's no heated nature for me. I'm just here to do my job, get the job done. I train hard. I came in with my team. We train hard, all of us, and we're here to win.
Jorge, we were here a month ago. We mentioned the brawl that took place to close the press conference just outside the arena here. When you look back on that, what are your recollections? What are your takeaways?
Plead the fifth.
You protected your coach. You protected your team. That's got to add to the bad blood we have for Saturday night, the motivation for you to come in here and score a second victory over one of your most star-studded rivals. Does that raise the ante, raise the motivation level for you entering Saturday?
Man, I just want to fight her. You know, I'm kind of waiting shit. You know, I just want to fight. This is cool. I know we got to sell pay-per-views. I just want to fucking fight her and knock this motherfucker dead, bro. Obviously, I didn't like what happened at the press conference, but that's in the rearview mirror. That's my emotions are not going to take place on Saturday. You know, what's going to take place on Saturday is the 6 months of isolation, hard work in a boxing camp with boxers, learning the craft from the ground up, and nothing else. You know, whatever took place on that day doesn't really change the outcome of what's going to happen in the fight. I'm still going to knock this motherfucker dead.
Nate? Training camp was extended an extra month. You've said maybe you weren't at your best level of fitness ahead of the Jake Paul fight. How different is that for you this camp, preparing for Jorge Masvidal?
It's slightly different.
Good stuff. Hey, what are your expectations for Saturday's fight?
I came here to win.
How are you going to do that?
How the fuck would you do it?
I'm going to talk to the microphone, but I don't really put on the gloves too often. You're the expert here. Any means necessary. Jorge, how do you get your hand raised this thing?
Violence. The only thing I've ever brought to the sport of combat is just violence and some techniques. So that's how I get my hand raised. And then eating these cheeseburgers
regardless of what goes on Saturday, does this end the rivalry between you and Nate Diaz?
Ain't no rivalry, bro.
Nate, same for you?
Piss these fighters off, everybody. You want to go eat with.
All right, enough time for talking. Seems like about time to match these great fighters up. We are just 3 days away from this fantastic pay-per-view fight offering this Saturday, last man standing, as FanMio pay-per-view presents Diaz versus Masvidal 2. But before we match up these fighters,